What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Sansom Sports Media podcast. We're your hosts, Hunter and Michael, coming at you after a packed feast week and a packed rivalry week for college football. Mike, how we doing?
Doing all right. Ready to
Doing
get
all-
into these discussions about these football games from yesterday and
Absolutely.
Friday too.
Yeah. Um, Before we get into the actual games on the field, let's talk just a little bit about Lane Kiffin. We're sitting here Sunday the 30th at 9:26 a.m. I know he's got a team meeting scheduled for somewhere around 10 Eastern to kind of discuss his decision with the team first. All signs point towards him going to LSU. What are your thoughts?
I'm a little surprised that he's. I guess I'm not totally surprised. I mean, he'll probably be able to get more money there, but I, you're expected to do a lot more at LSU than you are at Ole Miss.
Yes.
I think fans at Ole Miss are very happy with his 11-1 team about to go to the playoff.
Yep.
I don't know that if he goes to LSU and they're going 9-3, that the fans are as happy.
So I mean, I don't know that Ole Miss. I don't think that if he was going 9-3, he'd be necessarily doing what he's doing. So
that's true.
Building an 11-1 program at Ole Miss with not limited resources, but probably not as many resources as he'll have at LSU,
right?
Even though it's probably pretty close, is very impressive, and he's a damn good coach. Like, we can sit here and talk about his morals and how he handles things all day, but he's a good coach. Most coaches have some sort of sketchy something in their background. So just going to throw that out there. I'm not excusing it, but it is what it is.
And for as sketchy as he may seem at times, we don't hear a lot about players complaining about his own players complaining about him.
He is a great players coach. I mean, just look at the interactions he's had with Ole Miss players on the sidelines. I mean, dunking the turnover ball and like doing that kind of stuff, like that matters to players.
Yeah.
What I don't love is he has threatened to start poaching players if Ole Miss doesn't let him coach in the playoff. That's all reported by Pete Thamel. So I'm going to use it as fact for now, unless it's kind of disagreed upon later, but at least for now, that's what we're going to go with. So I don't love that he's doing that.
Yeah.
That being said, I think LSU kind of killed it with their hire. They were able to beat out Florida for Lane. I know that LSU was probably a little bit higher on his wish list than Florida was, so makes sense to me. But really putting Ole Miss in a tough spot. Do you think they should let him coach the rest of the playoffs, or should he leave? I am firmly on the if he's leaving, he should not be coaching the playoffs.
I agree.
I will. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you should go. I mean, in theory, you should go to the dance with the team that brought you, but you're not really with them anymore.
Yep.
So yeah. If you decide to move on to someone else, move on.
Yeah.
Don't say you're gonna leave. You're gonna leave this one relationship for another, but you're gonna take that previous relationship to the prom, so to speak.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will add. I just got pinged. Lane is threatening to take the entire coaching staff as well as a good chunk of the players with him to LSU if he cannot finish the season. So that is the reporting right now that just broke.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is trying to figure it out. If you have to keep the team intact, I can understand. I can't see LSU being super happy that he's going to coach the playoff with Ole Miss after accepting.
Yeah.
It'll get a little murky, but apparently he's worth waiting for from LSU's standpoint.
Do you think that if he does leave, the committee is going to drop them a spot or two?
I have a hard time with it. Maybe a spot or two. I don't know that they're going to be able to climb up into the buys. Just because I don't think that they'll let that happen with everything else going on. That being said, our buys right now are Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, and then most likely A&M at this point.
I don't know that
not A&M. Sorry, Tech, not A&M anymore.
Yes.
And then Tech is probably your fourth buy. Pending Tech and Georgia both winning and Ohio State and Indiana playing relatively close, I think those stay your four buys. Maybe things get a little chaotic if Tech loses to BYU, Georgia loses to Bama, or Ohio State blows out Indiana or vice versa.
Yeah.
That being said, let's pump the brakes just a little bit on getting into that discussion. Let's talk just a little bit of scores from around the feast or around rivalry week. Sorry.
Start with Friday.
Start with Friday night. Kick us off.
So Indiana obliterated Purdue in the old Oaken Bucket game.
Yep.
Easily clinching their spot in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
That was Purdue really needs to go back to the drawing board.
Yes.
I mean,
56-3. Ugly.
2-10.
Yeah.
I don't think they won a Big Ten game.
Yeah.
You had Texas. It didn't look great at half, down 10-3, but they came out of the second half and won by 10 to give the committee something to think about, which we'll talk about shortly. Georgia knocking off Georgia Tech, clinching their own spot in the college football playoff, and also clinching a spot. Well, they have a spot now in the SEC championship game.
Yep.
Not that Georgia Tech had any chance left, but now they really don't.
Yeah.
Ole Miss with their pretty easy win over Mississippi State, I think that clinches their spot in the playoff.
Agreed. Even with Kiffin leaving or all of that drama, I think they're in.
Utah knocked off Kansas. I don't think it really matters, though.
When Utah, like we've talked about the committee using the eye test, Utah has not passed the eye test the last 2 weeks. They gave up 500 rushing yards to Kansas State, and then they only beat Kansas by 10. I bet they get jumped by a couple teams this week.
Yeah. I just don't see where they go further up, especially with teams that were ahead of them are also winning.
Agreed.
Arizona State kind of a nice rivalry game, but not all that significant. Arizona will probably stay in the rankings. Arizona State probably won't.
Agreed.
So that's really Friday. I don't know what more there is to discuss from Friday with that.
I think, the biggest result Friday was definitely the Texas upsetting A&M. Like you mentioned, it definitely gives the committee at least some pause. Texas did play Ohio State well, but they have that Florida loss. It'll be interesting. There's a case for Texas.
Yeah.
I'm not a big believer in Texas should be in, but there is absolutely a case to have Texas in the tournament or the playoff right now. Moving to Saturday, Texas did get a little bit of help. Ohio State beat Michigan 27-9, effectively ending Michigan's playoff hopes. Not effectively, genuinely ending them, and locking up a bye for Ohio State, in my opinion.
I thought Michigan really missed some opportunities early in the game to score more points than threes and when they got in the red zone.
Yeah. Well, and then Jeremiah Smith bubbled the ball. I don't think there was enough to overturn that call.
Me either.
But I can understand Michigan's fans saying differently. And then
he caught the ball. He was clearly going into the end zone.
It's not like he dropped it and it went on the ground. Like he bobbled it for a second. It wasn't enough to overturn it.
No.
The chaos that would have ensued had that been overturned would have been crazy. So I'm okay with them leaving it like it was.
Put the ball in the end zone, stop complaining.
Correct. And they did not do that at all. Ohio State, first team since 75, Florida to hold all of their teams under 16 points.
Unbelievable.
Historic defensive year. I'll be interested to see how they do against Indiana.
Me too.
Texas Tech gave West Virginia the worst home loss of their, I think, history, 49-0. Oregon won the Apple Cup 26-14. I think that locks Oregon into the playoff as well.
The Apple Cup was actually Washington State.
Sorry, yeah, it was. I said Apple Cup and then immediately realized I was wrong. It was Oregon, Washington. Apologies.
Yes. And that should solidify Oregon into the playoff for sure.
I would agree. Yeah.
And I think they have a chance. If Tech loses to end up with one of the byes.
The pandemonium that will happen if there are 3 Big Ten teams that get a bye would be crazy to watch, but you are not incorrect. Especially if, let's say, Tech and Georgia both lose, I think Oregon definitely jumps up into that probably 3 or 4 spot.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see what the committee says on Tuesday.
Me too.
Oklahoma took care of LSU in an ugly game.
Ugh.
Mateer just is not. He hasn't looked the same since he came back. They won 17-13. LSU, obviously, as we've discussed pretty heavily, is not anything special right now.
No,
Oklahoma might drop a spot or two. We'll get
they
into that.
could. I didn't understand why people after they won the game were like, well, they're not a lock to be in the comfortable playoff. I understand now, but I just don't see much of a scenario where they don't make it. But I mean, the wins on the road against Tennessee and Alabama are terrific.
Yeah.
They beat Michigan too, but man, down the stretch of the season, the eye test sure does not look very
Correct.
pretty.
Yeah. I can understand not locking them. I would say we're at a greater than 98% chance of them making it. I'd be astonished if something happened, but as we're going to get into in a minute, I've been astonished a couple times this week, especially in the ACC.
Yeah.
Speaking of pseudo ACC teams, Notre Dame took care of Stanford 49-20.
Never close, never
yeah.
a game. Wasn't even as close as the 49-20. I mean, it was 42-3 at one point, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to bed, did not finish watching that one. I will admit.
Stanford really needs to talk about going back to the drawing board. I mean, this is just ugly.
Well, Luck got to hire his coach, so let's see what happens. It'll be Luck's first full season as GM with his coach. Things might turn around a little bit. We'll see. Bama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Auburn
that was not
fighting
pretty
for
either.
Correct, but it's
I know.
If Oklahoma and LSU was not a rivalry game, Alabama and Auburn obviously is the Iron Bowl. It's probably the second best college football rivalry, maybe third ever. So to be 27-20 at home or out on the road for Bama is a good win. Auburn had a chance down with about 33 seconds left, tried to fight for some extra yards, fumbled the football. They could not hold on to the football to save their lives.
Nope.
Alabama, I would not call Alabama a lock in the playoffs by any stretch. Obviously, if they win against Georgia, they're locked in because they get the automatic qualifier, but we'll see what happens. More on them in a minute. BYU took care of UCF 41-21. This was a little bit closer headed into halftime. BYU kind of pulled away there late to give the committee, again, something to think about. Miami absolutely dismantled Pittsburgh 38-7. Again, I think it's just too little too late for the Hurricanes, but we will get into them in a minute. Same thing for Vanderbilt. 45-24 looked very impressive in Knoxville. Pavia had some Heisman-type moments in this one. His performance in the second half was great. But, again, I think it's just too little too late to get into the playoffs.
That is the one that kind of hurts Texas in a way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they were ahead of – I mean – Vanderbilt was ahead of them, and they pick up another good win. Problem is, that they lost Texas, and so it's a 10-2 team with wins over Tennessee and Missouri.
Yeah, and then you've got Texas with the win over Oklahoma and the win over Texas A&M.
Yeah,
I think Texas will jump Vanderbilt in the rankings. I don't know that they're going to be able to jump all the way above BYU.
That's
and
the problem.
The Bamas of the world. Though.
Right.
Moving ahead, USC shaked off a sluggish start to win 29-10.
Yep.
Now, Tulane took care of Charlotte 27-0, setting up their championship game. I do think that if it is Tulane that beats North Texas next weekend, Tulane goes to the college football playoff.
Yes.
That being said, there's also a very real possibility that we have two group of 5 teams make the playoff this year. And we're going to get into that in a second. And that comes because chaos ensued in the ACC.
It sure did.
Just absolute pandemonium. Duke ended up making the playoffs based off of a computer model after Miami and them tied. That is because SMU lost to Cal last night 38-35. Had some crucial penalties down the stretch. They had a snap infraction, a false start that ended up moving it back. They missed a field goal to send it to overtime. And now it'll be Virginia and Duke. Virginia did take care of Virginia Tech 27-7. What are your thoughts?
This is what happens when you have a million teams in conferences with only 8 or 9 games to play.
And a crazy imbalanced schedule. Yes.
There is no reason why a Duke team that I'm not even sure if they're top 35 or 40, let alone 25, is now sitting in the ACC championship game. And lost to the only other team that they played that finished with the same conference record, which was Georgia Tech. So I don't understand how the computer model has them as ahead. That doesn't make any sense.
I am not a numbers guy. I have never claimed to be a numbers guy, so I'll just take it at face value and run with it because I genuinely don't know.
I mean, SMU beat Miami. Okay, I get them being ahead of Miami. Totally. Miami beat Pitt. Same thing. Pitt beat Georgia Tech. I get it.
Yeah.
Duke lost to Georgia Tech. Huh?
Yeah.
What?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
So I do not know. I don't know all the nuances of the factors. I believe they're using something similar to the BCS system
Use
to
something
do this.
else.
But there's a reason the BCS system is no longer used to help rank these teams. That being said, Duke and Virginia, it feels like it should be a heavyweight basketball game. Instead, it's a fight for a college football playoff spot. Do you think Duke gets a playoff spot if they win?
They shouldn't.
That's not the question.
I know.
So I have been steadfast all year that I do not think the committee is going to leave out the ACC,
Right.
regardless of how much they should leave out the ACC.
They'll find a way to put 8 and 5 Duke at like 25 and just shut JMU out or something.
That is my fear as well, or like
But
24 and 25.
it really shouldn't be that way. If Duke wins the game, there's no reason why at 8 and 5 they should be in the playoff.
Agreed.
I know, if James Madison was playing in a better conference, they probably wouldn't be 11 and 1. Sure, I don't think they'd be better than 8 and 5.
I completely agree. Yes, completely, wholeheartedly agree. With that, let's dive into some football talk or some playoff talk here. Give me 1 second. All right. I have pulled up what I think will be the bracket on Tuesday. A couple of things while we were sitting here talking that I wanted to mention. I'm probably a little low on Oregon. I just don't know where else to put them. So I put them at 7. I know they were 6 last week. Maybe they jump A&M. Maybe Ole Miss is behind them. I know the committee had it a little different last week, but went with this for now. Ohio State at 1, Indiana at 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech at 4. I think that's pretty clearly your 1 through 4, like we mentioned earlier. The chaos ensues, I think, from 5 to 8, and then from 9 and 10, and then out. I do have the last 2 automatic qualifiers being JMU and Virginia. I really think that if it is Tulane, JMU will get shut out. Honestly, more than likely, JMU is going to get shut out for now, but I think that they should be in personally.
So you think A&M stays ahead of Oregon?
I went with it for now. Okay. I am not very...
Yeah.
It's very possible that when I write my article here in a couple hours today, that I have this rearranged just a little bit. The more I look at it, the more we talked about some of these different things, the more I think I probably need to flip Oregon and Ole Miss. So I think Oregon will end up being my 5, and then Ole Miss is probably going to fall to 7. A&M feels like a 6 to me. I don't know that they're going to drop them more than 3 spots for a rivalry loss on the road. So I'll go with that for now. I do think Notre Dame and Oklahoma stay there, and then I think Alabama falls into that 10th spot.
So if Texas Tech wins, obviously BYU is out.
Correct.
If BYU wins, they're obviously in. Does Tech stay in?
Yes.
Even if
there's no way that you could drop BYU or a Texas Tech team from 4th all the way out from losing to BYU.
You don't think?
Or 5th.
You don't think they would keep? They would leave Tech out to put Alabama in if they lose to Georgia?
If they do that, then they need to completely redo the system to make it to where that doesn't happen. because I mean Tech is clearly better than has played clearly better than most of the teams on that list. That being said, I would not give the committee any leniency when it comes to that kind of thing. I would just win if I were Tech.
Okay. Yeah, I would too.
Are you thinking they would?
I wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, would it shock me? I'd be shocked that they actually did it, but also I could see the committee doing it. That being said, there's no way you can rank a team 4th, 5th in the country for weeks, and then they lose one game in the conference championship, and then you just boot them right out of the playoff. I'm sorry, but that would be, honestly, it'd be appalling. It would kind of ruin the system.
What do you make of the BYU arguments that they should already be in now?
Who have they beaten?
I mean, they'll mention things like they beat this, team with 9 wins in the Big 12 or 8 wins in the Big 12. And then I went and looked at who the Big 12 teams played in non-conference, and it's like a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
They got about a third of their wins from playing Stephen F. Austin and whoever.
Correct.
I mean, we're not talking about they went and beat, I don't know, even Penn State or something like that in the non-conference. So they did kind of beef up their record, and then it kind of gives people the idea that, BYU has 3 wins over teams with 9 wins and 4 wins over teams with 8. And then you look and see who it is, and it's like, okay, it's not as impressive as you thought.
Exactly. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now. Stanford, they did go to East Carolina and beat them. They beat Portland State. They beat Colorado. Your best win's probably Utah.
Yep.
And that was a home win against Utah. Maybe you could call Iowa State your best win because that was on the road in Ames, but you played a team with a pulse in Texas Tech and lost 29-7.
Yeah, and it wasn't that close.
Correct. I'm sorry, but it's kind of the same. These are a lot of empty wins, like you said. It's very similar to what they're doing to the ACC right now, and you have to beat somebody with a pulse.
Yeah.
And you can't just get blown out when you play somebody with a pulse. I mean, compare that, and I'm not an SEC person. I think the SEC gets overhyped every year, but you look at who Bama's beaten. There's Tennessee, there's Georgia at Georgia, there's Auburn. I mean, I shouldn't say Auburn. Sorry, scratch that one. But Vanderbilt, Mizzou, there's 3-4 good teams on this resume here. Yeah. Several of them are in the playoff hunt right now. And that matters. You have to look at who actually gets beat and who actually you play. So, and then go ahead.
I was finish your thought, and then we'll talk about the 4 teams that are just out of the playoff here.
Okay. And then my next thing was actually with the Miami. They beat Notre Dame 27-24 in August, but then they had the losses.
Did they? I haven't heard that the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It seems like Miami fans have just focused on that, but not what they've done after that. I mean, you beat a good USF team. Other than that, you lost to Louisville at home. Yeah. You lost to SMU in SMU. Neither of those 2 teams are great. SMU obviously is playing just lost to Cal and would have had a shot to play at the playoff. Maybe Pitt is a good win.
Yeah, but it's okay.
We're stretching here compared to Georgia, Vanderbilt, Tennessee. I understand that you're 11-1 or 11-2 or 10-2, sorry.
10-2.
And looking really good, but you're not playing anybody, and that has to matter.
Yeah, I know they beat them by 3 at home. They act like they beat them by 30.
A 3-point win at home, I'm okay with them leaving.
Yeah. BYU, again, win your game on Saturday, and you don't have to worry about it.
Correct.
I just don't see Vanderbilt getting in. I just don't.
Realistically, I think it's down to Texas, because I do think there's an outside shot with the wins that they have that they could do it. BYU, and then you can make a conversation for Miami. I agree. I don't think that you really have a shot if you're Vanderbilt. You're just
I
kind of
never
that
really
odd
did.
team out. Yeah, agreed.
Vanderbilt and Utah kind of felt like the placeholders.
Yes, and that's still I had to have a fourth team just to make it kind of even, and that's kind of what
Right.
it felt like as well.
And honestly, and if BYU doesn't beat Texas Tech,
Yep.
those 10 teams, I think, are the 10 teams plus the other two that come out of it.
I agree.
And
the
I
only
just don't see it.
Texas just gives me pause because we've seen the committee do
Yeah.
chaotic things before.
But you just can't lose to a what did Florida end up? They beat Florida State, so 4-8.
4-8. I agree.
Everyone's going to focus on the fact that they went and played Ohio State and that they shouldn't play these non-conference games anymore, and forget that they lost to Florida.
Hot take: what is the benefit of Alabama playing Florida State, Texas playing Ohio State? What is the benefit there?
So, couple things outside of the fact that it's nice for us to be able to watch and see in August or whatever. It's not if you lose the game, it's not a conference loss, so it doesn't affect your chance of getting in your conference title game. It's an opportunity to pick up a win to where if you do lose later on,
you've got a little cushion.
Yeah. So if Texas misses, it's not because they lost to Ohio State. It's because they lost to Florida. If they'd beaten Florida, this Texas team is 6 or 7 right now.
Agreed. But that still kind of begs the question of if Texas just didn't play Ohio State and picked up an extra win and they're a 2-loss team, they're probably also sitting in the playoff.
I'm not sure about that. I think they'd be right around where Alabama is right now.
I think that, honestly, had Texas not played Ohio State and they had 2 losses, Notre Dame would have gotten really pushed out.
That's
and you'd
possible.
see Bama and Texas in.
That's possible.
Obviously, the SEC is the king of the hypothetical game, and that's what we're playing right now. But it's hard looking at the schedules that the SEC teams played compared to other ones. It's hard to not just kind of give them the credit because they're playing these elite competition week in and week out. And then you get games like Kentucky or whatever, and all of that goes out the window.
We're going to find out this week what the committee really thinks about Notre Dame.
Agreed. If they're going to drop them, obviously, we've got 2 weeks left. They have to drop them on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
but
Notre
I also
Dame
think
should
there's
know
a case, considering how Notre Dame and Oklahoma looked this week, where I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame goes to 8 and Oklahoma drops to 9.
I wouldn't be shocked if Oklahoma drops to 10.
Yeah.
And the closer that they get to 10 or 11, the more and more that you got to start worrying about Texas jumping Oklahoma.
Yep. Especially with the win over them.
Correct. Because, I mean, the head-to-head will come into play. It is not for the Miami game because there are other factors.
Yes.
But Texas-Oklahoma is getting very close.
Yeah.
So if they want to start discussing head-to-head, it is possible.
I mean, does Oklahoma have a top 10 whatever resume? Yes. Do they look anything like a top 10 team other than when they, somehow escaped against Alabama?
No. I mean, they lost by 8 to Ole Miss. They lost 23-6 to Texas. Obviously, Mateer was coming back from injury there. That's a little bit of a asterisk on that one. But, 17-6 over Mizzou, 17-13 over LSU. Neither of those are impressive. And I would argue Texas's win over A&M is probably a better win than Oklahoma's win over Bama.
Oklahoma's was on the road, though.
That's true. It's very close. But we're getting to the point where, hey, you've got this head-to-head result sticking out. Do we need to start looking at it? And
is
that's
Oklahoma even favored in a game against Notre Dame, do you think, on a neutral site? No.
I think it'd be Notre Dame probably
7 to
5 or
10
6
points.
5 or 6. I don't think it'd be close to 10. If it was a home game for Notre Dame, I think we're talking 10 or 12.
Oh yeah.
If it's in Norman, we're talking
3 or 5, maybe.
3, maybe a toss-up somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But enough with all of the hypotheticals and everything. Thankfully, we do get to see the games get played.
Yes.
Let's do some picks real quick as we move through. If I can get my computer to load right, we'll do some championship picks here. We'll start with the American. We got Tulane and North Texas.
Give me Tulane.
Agreed. BYU and Texas Tech in the Big 12. Can BYU do it?
No.
I agree. Texas Tech is favored by 12.5, and I'll take the 12.5. I think Tech is just that good. Georgia and Bama.
Give me Georgia.
There's no shot that Georgia's losing twice in 1 year to Alabama. Duke and Virginia.
Give me the chaos. Give me Duke.
So are you confident in your thought that Duke should not be in the playoff?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, the committee might do the opposite, but
yeah,
that is at least what we're thinking. I agree. All right, the big one. 8 p.m. on Fox on Saturday. Indiana, Ohio State. Who do you got? Ohio State's favored by 5.5.
I'll take Ohio State. I think Indiana will get more than 16 points, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
I agree. I tentatively think Ohio State's just that good. This is a very good Indiana team, but Ohio State's defense and the offensive kind of firepower that they have with Smith and Sayin, I think it's just a little bit too much for Mendoza and company to take advantage of. Other than that, those are the big ones. Do you think JMU has any trouble this week?
No.
Okay. I didn't either. That's why I didn't put it on here.
Yeah.
Moving along here, Heisman pick. Who's your pick for the Heisman Trophy?
Tell you, Notre Dame's Jeremiah Love has really creeped up the rankings.
Yes.
But my guess is it's probably still Ohio State's quarterback, Sayin.
You think it's Sayin over Mendoza?
Well, I guess Mendoza could. It's close.
I think it's a toss-up at this point between those 3.
Maybe it'll be decided by who wins the Big Ten championship game.
Agreed. Yeah. It is definitely a quarterback award, unfortunately, as much as I wish it wasn't. So I would agree it probably goes to one of those 2.
I mean, I'm sure Jeremiah Love will end up in New York, but...
Oh, yeah. I think all 3 of those are locks for New York. I would like to see them send Pavia to New York as well. I'm not sure that they will. And then that 5th spot, I don't have a clue at this point who goes. I need to do a little bit more research on that one. But I think there's 4 pretty locked in there.
Let's do Feast Week in college basketball.
All right. Moving ahead here. Biggest observation from Feast Week. What was it?
I think now the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball right now.
Matt, if you're listening to this, I know you're doing a little dance at your desk and happy. I agree. I think the Big 12 is pretty clearly the best conference, mainly because 5 to 7 or so, getting down to Baylor, but not to Cincinnati, who we will talk about. I think that top 7 is very good. You've got Kansas State. You've got other teams playing well this year, so I think they're the better of the teams.
I don't know that any team changed the course of their trajectory for the moment was better than TCU.
Agreed. That's a great call.
I mean, they had the loss to New Orleans and weren't looking good before that very much at all.
Correct.
And then they go and beat Florida and Wisconsin.
They have completely offset and then some that loss to New Orleans at this point.
BYU had a pretty nice weekend with the wins over Miami and Dayton. I thought they had a pretty nice weekend. Oklahoma State gets the win over Northwestern. It's not a great win, but it certainly is better they didn't lose it. They're 7-0. Not really. I mean, I don't know how good the A&M win is going to turn out to be, but it's nice to see them where they are. They're going to get Grand Canyon in Oklahoma before they start Big 12 play, so we'll see where they're at.
I think moving away from the Big 12 here, but Michigan is just absolutely the hottest team in the country right now. That being said, I still think Purdue's number 1 in the polls, but I think Michigan has closed that gap and is very, very close. The turnaround that they've done after that first week where they look disappointing is pretty remarkable.
It is not hard to see where Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan are 3 of the top 5 teams right now.
Agreed.
Along with maybe Arizona and maybe Duke or something.
Duke or Louisville or UConn. You could throw a handful of teams there.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think probably Michigan State falls in that 7 to 10 range right now, but they're playing very well. I mean, they got the big win over Arkansas this week. Yeah. Arkansas, and then they also beat North Carolina.
So I got about 10 minutes here to continue going around Feast Week here.
All right. What you got? What other observations? I wanted to touch on NC State.
Yeah.
Most disappointing team in the country right now?
So far, one of, for sure. Really don't have any good wins, and now you add a kind of a suspect loss recently, right?
Yeah.
NC State is now, let's see, 5-2. I don't think they're going to stay in the top 25 of the AP poll anyway.
No, very much
with
so.
Losses to Seton Hall and Texas. I'm not even sure if either team. Well, I don't expect it to be Seton Hall to be anywhere near the tournament by the end of the season, but Texas might be.
Agreed.
NC State's best wins are VCU and Boise State, so this game against Auburn is pretty important.
Yeah.
They're going to get Kansas too, so they have a couple of good chances, but
at some point you have to look like a tournament level team to take advantage of that, and that's where I worry about them.
So I don't know.
One team that go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna just kind of turn the page, trying to touch on some other teams that impressed this week. Thought Vanderbilt. They beat St. Mary's. Their other win was VCU. So really, and then they beat Western Kentucky as well. So 3 pretty solid wins. That Western win's probably Q3. VCU probably quad 2, and then at St. Mary's is absolutely going to be a quad 1 win.
Yep.
I also their efficiency metrics. They're like top 10 in Torvik right now and in Kempom. They're starting to look like a really, really good team and a team that could really compete at the top of the SEC this year.
One game that really caught my attention over the weekend was the St. Louis Stanford game.
Yep.
That was a brutal loss for St. Louis. I mean, you foul up 3. They make the first free throw, miss the second, it kind of caroms off, and they tap it out for a 3 to beat you.
Yes.
I don't think it eliminates St. Louis's at-large chances because I mean they have a decent win on their schedule with the win over Santa Clara.
Yeah.
But it's going to be pretty tough sledding going through A10 play without stumbling once or two against a bad team.
Well, that's going to be the issue. I mean, you've got teams like Loyola Chicago, and other teams.
You had
like
to bring that up.
St. Joe's, Loyola, LaSalle, like Fordham.
Make no mistake about it. Loyola's been one of the 25 worst teams in college basketball so far.
Yeah, and taking a loss to Stanford, who is clearly not going to be a great team this year in the ACC, really hurts your kind of margin for error headed in. I think St. Louis can still get it done, though.
I think Dayton's in a pretty good spot.
Dayton's in a very good spot. That loss to Cincinnati doesn't look great, but go ahead.
But they have the wins over Marquette and Georgetown, and we'll see what those two teams end up. But Dayton has a real shot. St. Louis still has a real shot.
Yeah.
There is a chance for 3 or 4 bids. It's going to take a little bit, and they need some other good wins before A10 play. Yeah. But there's a chance.
I mean, VCU's been a bit disappointing this year. And then, I mean, you've got teams like George Mason or George Washington who have played well. Yep. St. Bonaventure's been okay.
Competition.
Yeah. So they definitely need some better wins. I know there's going to be a handful of more opportunities for them. So we'll see what happens, but it's not impossible. I'm leaning more towards 1 or 2 bids for the A10 now, but we'll see what happens.
Unfortunately, the only team that's scheduled like a team that thinks they might be an at-large was Dayton.
And they do that every year. Yeah. I think your best hope right now is Dayton to really just dominate, and then somebody swipe in and steal that bid from them. Kind of locally, just wanted to call out that Ohio State did get beat by Pittsburgh this weekend at the buzzer for the second year in a row on Black Friday. Absolutely brutal loss, and just I don't know. They've got something on their back about Pittsburgh at this point, I guess.
I don't love where Ohio State is.
Agreed.
I know that's their only loss, but I don't see any good wins on here. Notre
Correct.
Dame?
No.
By a point? So, they're going to get Northwestern and Illinois in the first two little games of the Big Ten schedule.
Yep.
Plus, they get West Virginia, North Carolina. Those two games are going to be important ones.
Yeah.
And now, if you want to talk locally about Cincinnati.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was going to try to avoid this, but I don't think I can. Cincinnati did lose to Eastern Michigan this week, 64-56. Cincinnati's offense is atrocious, and
They have offense?
No, they don't. That's the problem. I know they had some injury issues with Baba Miller being out, and that is significant for that team. But to lose to Eastern Michigan, even without one of your best players, is appalling. And the pressure is officially there for Friday's Crosstown Shootout. I'll have a full breakdown of everything that you need to know about the Crosstown Shootout.
And they better beat Tarleton State before that.
I'm assuming that they're not going to lose back-to-back bye games. If they lose back-to-back bye games, I don't know that Wes Miller is going to be the coach there.
Wes Miller needs to adopt some kind of non-SoCon offense.
Yes.
It's not working.
It hasn't worked. It's not going to work, and I'm afraid that his time is going to run out before he adapts.
I mean, they already played one of the best teams they're going to play all season and lost to Louisville.
Yep.
Xavier and Georgia are not bad, but they're certainly not anywhere near Louisville caliber.
Correct.
Clemson, same thing.
Yep.
They need a couple of those games.
No, they need all three of them.
Maybe all
Let's
three.
just call it like it is.
Yeah.
You assume that they're going to go 500 in conference play. They need all three of those because none of those teams are clear-cut tournament teams. Georgia's probably the best of the three right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough. I will say, kind of balancing it out, NKU went 3-0 this week. Had a really good week against, they played Eastern Kentucky, Wofford, and Boston. They won all three, won them all in different ways. I'll have more of that on my Twitter that you can see. And then Xavier continues to impress.
Mm-hmm.
They've really found their mark from shooting three. They're not taking 2-point shots. They're not making 2-point shots, but they're hitting the three ball, and they're playing some fun defense. They won big against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They'll have St. Francis before Crosstown this week as well.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of two teams headed in different directions. Be very interested to see what happens on Friday night in Cincinnati.
Marquette in some trouble.
Marquette is in a lot of trouble.
I don't know. And St. John's, one of the more disappointing teams too.
Yes.
So far.
The Big East as a whole has been rough.
Yeah.
I think you're talking. If the season ended today, I'm not convinced it would be more than a 2-bid league. I think they get 3, maybe 4, but I mean, things are ugly. I mean, Creighton doesn't look good.
Nope.
Marquette doesn't look good. Georgetown looks okay.
Yeah.
Butler looks all right. Xavier, DePaul are not tournament teams.
Nope.
Villanova still don't know.
And
then obviously you've got UConn and you've got St. John's, who is disappointing. UConn is probably going to run away with the conference and go hide somewhere. But it's ugly.
And maybe look for a new league again.
Might just be looking at the Big 12 again. No, I don't see them leaving yet, but definitely an ugly start for the Big East.
Ugh.
Other than that, ACC's kind of treaded water. I think they're better than they were last year.
Me too.
But I don't necessarily think they're going to be a super deep league this year.
Yeah.
They will capitalize a little bit on having the Big East be so down, especially with the A10 kind of squandering some chances now.
Yep.
With that, I think we've hit all the big conferences. There's way too much to try to cover in 1 hour-long episode of a podcast.
Maybe we'll try and do some more on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be back later this week, maybe next week, with more previews, more thoughts. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and give us a follow. And we will be back soon. Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.